News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. There's your closing bell for this Thursday on Wall Street, where the surge from April's meltdown shows signs that the stock market may be overheated. That spurred some calls for a breather. We do bring you closing numbers each day here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 lost 18 points, NASDAQ down 18 points, and the Dow down 243 points. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.14%, the 2-year yield at 3.59%. Microsoft shares are about 1% lower after forecasts show its data center crunch will continue for longer than the company outlined, underscoring Microsoft's struggles to keep up with cloud demand. President Trump welcomed his Finnish counterpart, Alexander Stubb, to the White House this afternoon. The U.S. and Finland agreed to a deal for the U.S. to acquire as many as 11 icebreakers, with 4 to be built in Finland and 7 in the U.S. The first of the ships will be delivered in 2028. This move is part of the U.S.'s effort to expand its fleet in the Arctic. Turning now to the Middle East, the negotiating chief for Hamas has confirmed the group has agreed to a deal that would see the end of its war against Israel. That's according to a video message aired on Al Jazeera. Israel implemented a ceasefire deal in Gaza after reaching an agreement with Hamas for the release of all hostages in exchange for the release of almost 2,000 jailed Palestinians and a ramp-up of aid to Gaza. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres welcomes the deal.
I urge all parties to fully abide by the terms of the agreement and to fully embrace the opportunities it presents. All hostages must be released in a dignified manner. A permanent ceasefire must be secured. The bloodshed must stop once and for all. And the United Nations will provide its full support.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, invited President Trump to address the Knesset. And President Trump held a cabinet meeting today after his announcement that both Israel and Hamas signed off on the so-called first phase of his proposed Gaza peace plan.
We secured the release of all of the remaining hostages, and they should be released on Monday or Tuesday. And that'll be a day of joy. I'm going to try and make a trip over. We're going to try and get over there.
President Trump and members of his administration have been campaigning for the president to win the Nobel Peace Prize, based in part on Trump's Gaza plan. The head of the Norwegian Nobel Committee says the decision on this year's award was already made on Monday and indicated that the possible peace deal in the Middle East could only count toward next year's award. We are into the 9th day of the government shutdown. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is confident an agreement on a stopgap spending measure can be reached. He tells Bloomberg Television there have been no recent talks between Republicans and Democrats.
There's been no conversation between House Republicans and House Democrats, or between the Republican Party, Donald Trump, the administration, and any of us on Capitol Hill, including conversations that should be taking place with Leader Schumer and Senate Democrats since that White House meeting that occurred last Monday. That's unfortunate.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries speaking to Bloomberg Television. House Speaker Mike Johnson at his daily press conference assailed Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for saying that every day of the shutdown is good for the Democrats.
There's one thing that Chuck Schumer cares about more than anything else, and that is his Senate seat. The guy's been in Congress for 44 years. He doesn't know how to live life outside this building, and so he will do anything to make sure that he keeps that seat. He sees a rising Marxist challenge to himself.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has declined to call lawmakers back since before the shutdown began, insisting that the House has already done its job. Democrats say any shutdown discussion must address tax subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. Air travel in the U.S. is showing signs of strain from the shutdown. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the amount of delays caused by controller staffing shortages has now grown to 53%. The shutdown is costing the American travel economy an estimated $1 billion in lost spending each week. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. This is Bloomberg.